Alright, so our patient has limited toe flexion and extension range of motion and strength due to general weakness and a stability motor control dysfunction because they do not have correct control over their toe flexors and extensors to do these motions. So the first exercise we're going to have Kelsey do here is a mobility stretch, including this baseball. So this is a mobility exercise to improve her toe flexion. The patient's going to take the ball and put it underneath her big toe, and she's going to roll it down her toe until she feels a good stretch. Hi Kelsey, my name's Peter. I'm going to be your SPT today. So I need you to take this ball, all right, put your big toe on top of it, and roll it into a spot where you get a good stretch. All right, you shouldn't feel any pain. So hold that for 15 seconds and do that 4 times.
Okay.
Okay, so just as I said, we have our patient holding for at least 15 to 30 seconds at a time to improve her stability and motor control. Since it's not a true tissue shortening, we do not need to do a low load, long duration stretch. To increase the intensity, we could have our patient hold the stretch for longer or just use a bigger ball to obtain a larger range of motion. The therapist could cue the patient differently if they have problems keeping the ball still on the ground, then they can put it against the wall so it becomes more stable.
This patient has the same general weakness and stability motor control dysfunction as described in the first exercise. And this next exercise is for increasing the strength and endurance of toe flexors. So what we're going to do is have the patient place a towel underneath their foot and flex their toes to scrunch the towel towards them. So hi Katie, I'm Kelsey, your physical therapist that's going to be working with you today. What I'm going to do is put this towel down, and you can put your foot on top, and then you're going to curl your toes in to grab the towel underneath you, and then you're going to relax. You're going to do that 10 times, and we're going to do 3 sets of these, okay?
Okay.
We have our patient at this dosage in a 10 rep max because it's in the hypertrophy category and because it improves strength while also being in an appropriate range for our patient doing this activity for the first time. To increase the intensity, we can increase her reps, put a weight on the towel, or use a more rough surface underneath the towel, and the therapist can cue the patient to keep their foot on the ground and not to use ankle motions to compensate.
This video will demonstrate a functional performance exercise to improve MTP extension. The patient has the same general weakness and stability motor control dysfunction as described in the first 2 exercises. The patient will start standing, and they will shift their body weight to the front of the foot and go up on their tippy toes as far as their MTP extension allows. The patient can hold on to the table or a wall for support. Alright, hi Mel and Katie.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Alright, so what we're going to be having you do is you'll stand up, and we're going to have you push off the ground and raise up on your toes. And you're going to be taking steps like that for 20 seconds, and we'll have you do 4 different sets of this. And then you'll take breaks in between.
Okay.
Any questions?
No.
This exercise and dose was selected in order to increase strength and stability of the toe extensors by maintaining that position and putting a larger load on the area of interest. To increase the intensity, the patient could perform the exercise without holding on to something for support.
Our patient has the same general weakness and stability motor control dysfunction as described in the other 3 exercises. We are going to be doing bounds with our patient, which is a sport-specific exercise to strengthen the toe flexors and extensors while pushing off the ground and landing. It also has an overall function of enhancing the leg muscle strength and stability. It's good for our patient because they are a dancer. The patient will lean forward and push off their back leg to do a bound. They will then land on their opposite leg and hold for 2 seconds in a single leg stance, or at least until they catch their balance before pushing off that leg into the next bound. So, hi Peter, my name is Mallory. I'm going to be your student physical therapist. I'm going to have you stand up. We're going to be doing some bounds. So what you're going to do is make sure you push off one leg and make sure to push off your toes. You're going to land, hold that for 2 seconds or until you catch your balance, and then push off into the next one. We'll do 10 of these, rest, and then do another set, so we'll do 2 sets total. So you can begin. We chose this dosage for our patient because it will improve their strength while also being tiring enough for the patient to complete. To increase the intensity, we could have them hold the single leg stance for longer than 2 seconds, or have them try and jump farther. The therapist can cue the patient to focus on the push-off and keep the toes pointed while in flight like they would in a dance class. Also when landing, we want to cue the patient to not allow their knee to cave in and to land on the ball of their foot and not the heel.